came out of that? The Americas establishing themselves, but establishing a government, presidency. Then you had what take place? The Great Seal created. The same Great Seal that was put on where? The US dollar. But the first US dollar was printed when? 1914, under the rulership of Woodrow Wilson. See? But then what else took place? The first American War. So he was using war to usher in a dollar of dominance. Okay? So read this again. Read this again.
Revelation 13.
How did the Romans make the people worship them? Through their violence. Didn't it say teeth, dreadful, terrible? So they created terrible events that made you respect the US and the US dollar, which the dollar was only backed temporarily by gold. I'm sorry, temporarily backed by gold. So let's read this again.
Revelation 13 and 12.
Oh, and what did the Romans do? They attacked what mines? The silver and the gold mines. So Esau's always been about money, power, and respect. You know, that's money, power, respect. Hey, but what did Biggie say? With more money comes more problems. Esau, the more money he gets and monetizes and pushes, the more problems he's involved in. America, it's been more at war than it's been at peace.
17 years of peace.
Thank you. 17 years of peace, and when was that? You see? So let's read this.
Rev 13 and 12, and it says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast.
Wait, now we need Rev 6 and 4. What?
I got it right here.
That's the spirit. What else? The brother got it. I know you got a piece of it, right? What other powers does he what did it say? What other, it says power?
Yep, it says all the power of the first beast before him.
No, it said he what? The power?
Oh, it's like it. Exercise.
So hey, let's get the word exercise. Who's got the Urim and Thummim?
Exorcist.
Who's got it? My man Gabar, read Rev 13 and what?
Verse 12.
12. Or for my northern brothers, Dose. All right? And why does the northern kingdom speak Spanish? Because of one of the horns that defeated them. Why are we speaking English? They speak English. Now, what does it say for exercise?
The condition of being in an active operation.
The condition. Now, how did that operation get enacted? By the government. I'm sorry, that established their independence. Esau created a government, said, nope, we're speaking for ourselves, not the British, not the French. Nope, we have our own system now. But that system was set up to do what? To allow the global elites to continue controlling the banking system. Is that it?
It also says execution of power, physical or spiritual exercise. Also to engage busily, to disturb and disquiet, to keep away and contain.
To contain. When the rulership of the Romans were there, just like the Greeks, the earth was quiet. You want to talk about freedom? Try to take your ass out of America and see what you got to go through legally if you want to leave instead of illegally. The fact that it's illegal for you to leave America without proper documents shows you that this place contained you as the ancient Roman Empire. You can't leave or get in this mother sucker. This shit is a fortitude. It's a fortress. America is a military compound. Yeah. It's got invisible walls, border patrol. This is a providence in a whole that's backed by military. And you know what the head of that military is? The Pentagon. Do you know what the Pentagon, how many sides it has? 5. Do you know what that represents? Endless. But if you look at the Pentagon from an aerial point of view, you know what else it looks like? The head of a ball-peen hammer, the same hammer that says, how is the hammer of the earth broken asunder? That hammer is the military presence that is replicating the first beast, which is the pagan Roman Empire. We're all in it. We're back in it. So let's read this again.
Verse 13 and verse 12. And he exercises all the power, it says all the power of the first beast before him.
Did Rome control the monetary system? Let's look it up. Look up, did the Roman Empire control the financial system? Who controls it today? America. So let's see if the Romans controlled the financial system. What's it say, Ramad? Oh, all right. whatever. Any brother get it? We can all look together. I'll look too.
We all watch.
Yeah, we say?
We all watch.
Yeah, we all watch, man. Who's got it? Whoever got it first.
It's,
What you got?
let's see. It says right here, the ancient Roman Empire was
Oh, not the ancient, the pagan.
right. Yeah, right. Really.
Not the holy, the unholy Roman Empire. Read that, brother.
It says.
So what's that proof then? That because did we have money too?
Yep.
So we had holy money. Esau has unholy money.
It says.
He has crooked currency. It says we got to get Deuteronomy 22 or Proverbs 22:7. It says that can you make something that's accustomed to be crooked? Can you make it straight?
Right.
What's always crooked through Esau's money? Wall Street. Look at the Wall Street,
Yep.
the stock market. It crooks.
Fluctuates.
It fluctuates. That's an uneven balance. That's wicked in the eyes of the Lord. You know who changed the gold standard? Woodrow Wilson. See, always the presidents. Why are the presidents making these moves? Because the elites created them to be the spokesperson for their agenda. That's all a president is. They are a spokesperson for the agenda of the elites. That's why what you know as the Illuminati was created May 1st, 1776, and then the Declaration of Independence came in so-called July 4th, 1776. May, June, July. 3 months before their independence, they already had a system created here, and then they infiltrated the government system that they also set up. That's all they do. Just like the Bretton Woods Agreement was an agreement of gold, but before that system collapsed, that organization created 2 running organizations that are still strong pillars to this day with money. That's the IMF and that's the World Bank. That's how Esau works. You see? That's why he created a government to rule the people.
And it says, you see that, right? It says, conclusion, the ancient Roman, I'm going to say pagan.
Yeah.
The pagan Roman Empire was wealthy compared to its contemporaries.
Yep, the other nations.
It had a sound monetary system.
It had a sound. So it was foolproof. There was nothing to stop. All right? There was no one to interject. There was no one to say, well, I'm going to give you my Hamite money. Ham's got money. China's got money. North Korea's got money. All right? You ever heard of yen, ruble? What else? What's Mexico got? Peso. But then all these other heathens have currency, but what currency surpasses them? The US dollar. But why? We have to go into history. Okay? Keep going.
And it says it had a sound monetary system.
Because ultimately, why does the US dollar surpass all other nations? Why has Esau been allowed to cause the world to accept the US dollar? Because prophecy says he's also going to cause the world to accept the mark of the beast. See? Read this.
And it says it had a sound monetary system and place based on silver.
Oh, real quick. It says this is the dominion of Esau. And this book's my new favorite book right now. It says on page 79, listen to this, brothers. Remember I said which we got another book. This book goes into how the Masons infiltrated the government and they initiated presidents.
You gotta be a Mason to be a president.
Okay? And you also gotta have at least $500,000. Not doll hairs, dollars. Okay? So it says, as President James Garfield said, whoever controls the volume of money in any country is absolute master of all industries and commerce. So who controls the money? Esau. Who controlled the money as the first beast? Esau. Who's here to exercise the powers as the first beast? Esau in America. So it's the same thing all over again. Read this.
It says, and place based on silver, which deteriorated over time through inflation.
So silver was the main currency, right? And then other currencies, like we said, salt. So just like now in America, what was currency? Silver and gold, but what represented that currency in America? The Federal Reserve note. You see? That once was a certificate. You see? But then what president, we've been saying it, what president made it illegal for the dollar to be used as exchange to buy gold. What president? Theodore Roosevelt. What year? 1933. And then not even a decade later, what took place? World War II. You see? That was it. Now let's go back. Okay, whatever you got, brother. Whatever your brothers got, bring it up. What's going on, brother? Good, and you?
It says, having a common monetary system.
Read it loud, brother, Baba Kashar, or just come closer.
It says, having a common monetary system throughout the empire made trade much easier and more efficient. It's talking about Rome. Because the value of coins was agreed upon, it was easier to determine what price should be paid for goods. Coins were also easy to carry, which was important.
You gotta read that again, brother, because I could barely hear you too.
Okay, so it says, having a common monetary system throughout the empire made trade much easier and efficient. Because the value of coins was agreed upon, it was easier to determine what price should be paid for goods.
Yep.
Coins were also easy.
That's why you have a term called a troy ounce.
Right.
Because it had to equal a troy ounce, and a troy where? Greek, Roman, Edomite.
Right. Coins were also easier to carry, which was important in larger empires such as the Roman Empire.
See? And then it came to a point, do you want to carry coins? Or do you want to have a certificate that shows, hey, I got these coins back? And where the coins were kept? In the banks. All right? And you also had a bank run of gold. And the UK, you just got to look it up in history. The UK at one point, they stopped the acceptance of gold by their money because there was a bank run and everybody was taking all the gold. So that shows you what? That Esau wants to make a system of a monetary fund to replace physical silver and gold. So they're giving you the idea of wealth while taking actual wealth from you. You see? Like last night I showed the brother, he had a precious stone, and I said, okay, so you are the early settlers and I'm the government. Let me show you what you would do. You give me the precious stone, and he gave it to me. And I gave him a receipt from my receipt book. That's exactly what they would do. Right. So now you just have a receipt, but not the physical worth. Right. Now, where are we at? Okay, now real quick. Now, how did America dominate the money system in legislation? Isaiah 10:1. How did America establish and dominate the currency? The Federal Reserve Act. And guess when the Federal Reserve Act came out? 1913.
Right before the war.
But not only right before the war, right before they printed the first US dollar. So they had everything constructed. And remember, we talked about that was Jekyll Island. Who created the Federal Reserve Act? The elites. You see? Watch. It says the Jewish objective was to make all money, loans, credit, and financial transactions worldwide became subject to their centralized control. When did they get that control of the banks first? 1684 over the British, right? So that means they didn't even care about the Brits ultimately, because they were running the Brits dry. It's because what do you need to have war? Money. Do you know over $20 billion, I believe, and I might be being lenient, but I want to say, guess how much it cost in the war of Iraq because of 9/11. Guess how much money they spent just for air conditioning for the troops? Over 20 billion, and that was just for air conditioning. So money, what did Pac say? They got money for war, but not money to feed the poor. Because Esau's MO ain't about feeding poor with money. His MO is to use war with money. Real quick, Proverbs 22:7, please.
That's the spirit I was describing.
Okay, well, the brother's got to hold your precept. Everybody hold their precept so we can bring all the edification out. Proverbs 20, it should be 22:7, right?
It is, I looked at it earlier.
Read that loud, brother.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 7, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the leader.
The lender.
Lender. Kind of
See, who's the lender? Esau. And what does he lend you? A Federal Reserve note. Who controls the money? The government. That makes it fiat currency. Man, you're good, brother. Man don't control money. Well, what man? The government. The government controls your dollar. So if the government wants to collapse the dollar, it can. Because the government collapsed what? Gold. How the hell can you collapse gold? So if they collapse gold, they're going to collapse the dollar because we're the borrower, they're the lender. Woe to the rich man, James 5. That's why there's gonna be an uproar. When people find out they've been giving their whole life to a fucking receipt backed by military presence and oil, they're gonna lose their mind. Because you can't get gold like that. Now you can use money to buy gold. Now, there was a year, see, first, they made it illegal for you to buy, gold with money. But then there was a time where they re-allowed you to buy gold with money. Why? Because they already instituted the US dollar into the system, so now they don't need gold no more. They only use gold to make you accept it. If you bring a piece of paper and I'm like, what the hell is that? Dumb and Dumber, the IOU. But what I owe you what? Gold. He said, you better hold on to that, that's a Lamborghini. You better hold on to this dollar, that's an ounce of gold. What? Yeah, where? At the bank. Through what? The Federal Reserve Act, which was done on Jekyll Island through a pack of Edomites through the 1948ers. Everything is tied into them. So it says, watch this. It says Esau's crowning achievement in gaining financial dominion over Jacob occurred with the establishment of the Federal Reserve Act. Now your money has gone from a silver or gold certificate to a Federal Reserve note. Who rules and owns the Federal Reserve? Esau. It says the Federal Reserve Act, which was signed by Zionist stooge Woodrow Wilson. Who was Woodrow Wilson? The president. Another dummy set up in office to be used as a spokesperson for the agenda of the elites, for the agenda of the lender to who? The borrower. And what's a loan? When you borrow money. And what they put on it? Usury, interest. What's that? Deuteronomy 25 and 32. What's the usury law? Check. What's it? Yeah, get the term. There's a law where you can use usury against a heathen, but not an Israelite. Esau uses usury on everybody. Interest. He's giving you a fake currency, and then he charges you interest on it. So ultimately, you're paying a fuller price for a piece of shit paper that ain't even backed by nothing, but he's making you pay more for it. Got it? Just you were 25 and 32? Or try 32 and 25. 23 and 19. Go to Deuteronomy 23:19. You got it?
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 19. Thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother.
Thou shalt not lend. What's usury? Interest. Hey, bro, if you don't give me it back by next Sabbath, I'm gonna need twofold. You can't do that. And what's Esau do that through? Through loans, through the banks, through his monetary system under the Federal Reserve Act. And the Federal Reserve Act had nothing to do ultimately at the end of the day with gold. It was just used so you could accept the Federal Reserve note. Because what was the Federal Reserve note for? Reserved gold. And guess who he made all give him this gold? Everybody. Everybody. British, everybody. Everybody gave him this gold. And why? Because ultimately people traded their gold for the US dollar to buy what? Oil. What's one of Esau's blessings? The fatness of the earth. So under the regime, under the administration of Richard Nixon, fulfilled Esau's blessing of the fatness of the earth that he was given to him from Isaac. And how did he get that blessing? Through one of his other blessings, which was the sword. So let's read the law.
Yep. Deuteronomy 23 and 19. Thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother, usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury.
And Esau does that. You want to know what proves that? You ever heard of Rent-A-Center?
Yep.
Yeah.
Your ass go there to buy a whole living room set. You miss one payment. And they take victual. They take your aid from you. They take everything from you that you just loaned me. That's why I never once in my life went there. Yeah, right. So you think I'm gonna excuse me the language, you think I'm gonna go there and then one day have to deal with somebody coming and taking my stuff? That's burglary. You're entering my house from an unbalanced Federal Reserve note, which is unrighteous, to take my victuals from me that you gave me. You didn't give it to me, you loaned it to me. That's what Esau does to you, you know? Esau's a demon. Was that it on it? Yeah, so now going back, watch this. It says, so now we established that Esau created the Federal Reserve note, right? in the Federal Reserve Act, right? And then after he produced a piece of a receipt from this Federal Reserve Act, which you know today is the Federal Reserve note, the dollar, right? Then it says, with the Federal Reserve System, the Edomites have the ability to create their own money. The Federal Reserve notes and bank book entries. Now watch this, I highlighted. It says, the white people of America, which are Edomites, are now subject to their new Edomite masters who created their money, allowing them to buy and sell with it, but monitor how much they receive, W-2 forms, etc., and taxes them from privilege of that use. So they tax you for you having the privilege to use their Federal Reserve note that is backed by nothing but the sword, and the dollar is backed by Esau's blessing. That's all it's backed by. So the dollar is temporal because Esau's temporal, because the triumph from the wicked is short. So that means if his dollar's backed by his blessing, then that dollar's getting ready to drop because Esau's blessing getting ready to drop, because curses are getting ready to be put on him. The reason why Jacob has holes in their bag is because of Esau's monetary system. Why do we have holes in our bags? Taxes, unrighteous decrees, payments. Being subject under whose payments? Esau. Esau's payments. Now it says, and taxes them for the privilege of that use. The IRS is but a collection agency for the Edomite Federal Reserve banking system. Close the fucking book on that one. Let me for the sincere sheep.
What page is that?
This is you got that book, right?
I got the book.
Okay, page 78. Page 78. And guess what? Since we're speaking about money, we're gonna have to go into the mark of the beast. Because what's coming? The third woe. What surrounds Esau in war? Money. And guess what else? Collapsing of money or bringing in a new currency of money. But it's still all the same ingredients. Power, money, respect, what you need in life. Don't they say that? What you need in life, money, power, respect, right? Money, power, respect. That bitch was an Edomite. You know what I mean? See, Jake takes Esau's tactics and snazzes it. Like, money, power, respect, what you need in life. Like, oh, you right. But Jake don't got no power. He damn sure ain't got no respect. And you ain't got no fucking money. You got Federal Reserve notes from your oppressor. You got monopoly money, my man. You got monopoly money. Now, where we at? Yep, back in there.
Rev 13, verse 12. And verse 12.
Oh, listen to this. It says, because we also have to, if we're speaking about money, what else we got to speak about? The stock market. Stocks and bonds. Who was the first stock? Who's the first bonds? Jacob. It says, controlling stock in the Federal Reserve System is owned principally by 8 international Jewish banks. You want to know who those banks are? The first one on deck is the Rothschild Bank. All right, and I could continue. I mean, if you want the banks, but it goes into Rockefeller, Rothschild, all Edomites in all lands of Germany, Middle East. See, Manhattan, in the World Trade Center. And what are they trading? Their Federal Reserve notes that they forced the world to use because the earth was given to the hand of the wicked. So you don't think if he wasn't given the world, he wouldn't create a world currency? Anytime you rule, you create what? Your own money with your face on it. Even Nate created his own money. You brothers know that? Yeah. Nate created his own money with his face on it for IUIC. And you know what? When I used to go to church, they used to give me church money. And I would get more money the more I went to the church.
Back in Rev?
Yep.
Revelation 13, and verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him.
So we just proved one of the powers he exercised is through the monetary system, the money. Keep going.
And it says, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast.
And what else was a part of first beast? The money. You had to accept the money. Just like when they would come to Jerusalem, which was the Romans ruled over us, that's why they had exchanged their money. That's why when Yahushua overflipped the tables, whose tables did he overflip? The money exchangers. What were they exchanging? Their currency to the currency of the land under the Romans. And what would they do? They would shave it, the coins, because it was by what? Weight. So that's why they created the Troy ounce. Nope, it's off. That's not a Troy ounce. Can't use it. Nope, this is altered. This is counterfeit. See? Keep going.
And it says, verse 12.
And then the movie Rush Hour 3 shows you that Esau and Moab are going to be fighting over the dollar. Remember, what was Rush Hour 3 based off? Esau creating counterfeit money.
Rush Hour 2.
What did I say?
3.
Oh, suck it. Rush Hour 2, the water. Rush Hour 2 was based off who? Esau and Moab. What do you have today? Esau and Moab fighting over the dollar. Who just said they were leaving the dollar? Russia. Who's the fucking bear? Russia. Go on.
And it says, whose deadly wound was healed.
Why? How was the deadly wound healed? By America establishes its government and independence from foreign nations, and they said, no, this is our land now. We are a government, and we got 13 counties, and we'll fight you unto death to reclaim our independence. And with their independence and with their kingdom came what? Their own currency. And then how they forced the world to accept it? First gold, then war. Then what they take away? The gold, but what they leave? The war. Keep going. Yeah, come on. Oh, look, 44.
Yeah. This is going into what we were speaking about concerning economic hitmen. It says, economic hitmen are the shock troops of what Perkins called, which it's a book by John Perkins called, Economic Hitman. But she's going into what Esau does when he goes in these countries and sets up his monetary system.
Wait a minute. You know what else Perkins is mentioning? A Long Kiss Goodnight with Samuel Jackson and my girl. What's her name? The chick.
Oh, shit.
Damn. Anyways, Samuel Jackson's in that movie, A Long Kiss Goodnight. Her daughter, not Julia Roberts, her daughter had a bear that she called Perkins. The woman suffered from amnesia, and she was a CIA agent, and her boss name was Perkins. And you know what Perkins told Samuel Jackson? Samuel Jackson said, how are you going to destroy this building and get away with it? He said, all we got to do is just put a couple Arabic terrorists in there, and the world will believe that it was terrorism that did it. So a man named Perkins was explaining how economic hitmen work and how they blame it on other nations. That was in a movie. That's truth. See how they put truth in movies?
It says economic hitmen are the shock troops of what Perkins calls the corporatocracy.
Oh, the shock troops. You know what else is, what was shocking? When Richard Nixon dropped gold from being able to be bought by the dollar. It's actually listed as shocking story, a shocking moment of Nixon. People lost their mind when they found out that you can't buy gold with a dollar. It shocked the world. But did the world accept it? Yes. Because it was through military and the oil that kept it relevant. So go back to the shocking.
It says, economic hitmen are the shock troops of what Perkins calls the corporatocracy, a vast network of corporations, banks, colluding governments, and the rich and powerful people tied to them. If the economic hitmen can't maintain the corrupt status quo through nonviolent coercion, the jackal assassins swoop in.
Oh, wait, through nonviolent what? Coercion? What is that? Your business meetings. You get presented, like the government did with Gad. You sit down. What do you always have? G7 summits. Who just met recently? Biden and Putin. Who just threatened Putin? Biden. See? So it all ties. So first they warn you, and then they send in. And guess what? That's our tactic. But we, in Deuteronomy 20, when we go to besiege a city, we first ask that thou come peacefully. And if they say no, we kill every man by the sword. Every man by the sword. So that's what they do. But they send in one judge, like how the Lord used Ehud, Samson, right? So Joshua, one man. So Esau does that on the left-hand side. But they're like, I don't want to accept this, but you're going to have to one way or the other. That's why you got the movie, what was it, Krutza, with Owen Wilson, Escape?
Escape, yeah.
Escape with Owen Wilson, where the whole movie was based on the nation rising up because Esau was jacking up their water. But they sent one man in there as a representative, and then you had another man by the name of Pierce Bronson, who was an economic hitman, to watch over them without him knowing, because he was jacking up their water because they weren't listening. They didn't want to accept the policies. So if you don't accept America's policies, they're going to send in a jackal.
It says, the heart of this book
The heart of this book is a completely new section, over 100 pages long, that exposes the fact that all economic hickman and jackal tools, false economics, false promises, threats, bribes, extortion.
Now, when this jackal does that with this mercenary, whoever threatens him, then what does that nation do when it finally accepts the policy? It goes through the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, that was created under the Bretton Woods Agreement before the gold got collapsed. See how it all ties in? To keep what? Money relevant. I'm gonna beat you up, knock you out, and make you accept my dollar. But then when you go to them, it's some white woman with a tight dress, tight ass, and she's a secretary, everything's corporate, it looks professional. But for damn 30 days and 30 nights, you've been getting bombed to hell and back and poisoned and attempt assassination. And then he comes to you, hello, good afternoon. Oh, just fill out these paperworks. What? What? It's like The Game. It's like an evil prank. Yep. You brothers ever see the movie The Game? What's it? Who was it?
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. You brothers ever see it? It's a movie about a banker who gets signed up for this game of nothing but scare tactics, changes his world, everything. Controls police, banks, hospitals, all to prank him. And at the end of it, he accepted it. That's the same thing they do. What they did in Hades. Because at the end of the movie, Michael Douglas jumps off a fucking building to kill himself to stop the game. That's what Esau does you. He puts you through so many straits. You're like, I'd rather be dead than to deal with this devil.
It says false economics.
Oh, Gaddafi. Now we have a greater meaning why Gaddafi was killed. Now we have an even greater meaning why Saddam Hussein was killed. Because they didn't want to accept the US dollar. Do you know that there are 7 sovereign countries that don't accept the US dollar to this day?
False economics, false promises, threats, bribes, extortion.
Bribes, extortion.
Debt, deception, coups, military coups.
Oh, military coups. So every time you hear of a coup, it's something based with money or an agenda of the elites. The Haitian president being taken out was the agenda because of the VC. He didn't want nobody in Haiti to accept it. So what they do, they sent in hitmen and they offed him in an attempt to off his wife.
Assassinations.
What it say?
Assassinations. Unbridled military power.
What is that unbridled military power? The U.S. embassies. 284 U.S. embassies, and you bet your ass where those U.S. embassies are, the U.S. dollar is following. Okay?
Are used around the world today exponentially more than during the era Perkins exposed over a decade ago. So it's more.
Well, now
it's more now.
Yep. So now let's go into a quick account of a man we know in history by the name of Gaddafi and why the U.S. assassinated him because he didn't want to accept their terms and agreements. That's how.